में बहुत सारा ambiguity होता है. People don't understand what the teacher wants to say, and then the last moment the problems creep up. So let's be very clear about me. You can ask me any questions you want. I will not bite you. At the most, I'll kick you when I come there, but not bite you. Okay. So we were all set to start our offline classes from Monday, that is 14th onwards. But the problem is we are still waiting for the DG final order. What we have received is only the draft order. So unless the final order comes, we cannot go ahead with that. But I'm sure it can even come today. They do work on Saturday. If it doesn't come, then obviously we will have to postpone it. Okay. Any more doubts you have, you can ask. Okay, looks like no doubts. So today we are going to start with we finished with the air pollution, today with the water pollution. And generally I take you for the field, it's not a trip, it's within our campus. You can see on your own. Are you allowed to go out from your hostels?
Yes, after the academic hours.
Okay, so when you go for your practicals, try to go today or tomorrow, or when tomorrow is Sunday, from the route which leads to the laundry from the hostel 2 area. Are you guys familiar with that route?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
as soon as you take the left turn towards the laundry road, you will find on the corner there are some weeds, some reeds actually. They are not weeds grown there. I hope they are still there because I haven't been to that
Yes, sir.
area.
They are
Sunday
there.
है कल
So Sunday go the best time to go after breakfast. What is there? What is that? Any idea? What
No, sir.
those reeds are the water treatment plant that is the extension of the water treatment plant. Okay. And today's session, I will show you what actually it is. Okay. Where since we are talking about water pollution, we do recycle the water in our campus. We have an independent uh, owned water treatment plant. You must have noticed sometimes it foul smells comes from that area when you are walking towards the laundry.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is because the sewage water, the gray water in the sewage is being treated, and the final end product is being used for watering the plants and for toilet facilities. I think they have stopped using it for toilet facilities, but for plants, I think they're still using it. That used to be the normal practice before the pandemic. So we are ISO 14001 certified. Now, what is ISO 14001 certification? Any idea? No idea?
No, sir.
Have you faintly heard about something ISO?
Yes, sir. I've heard.
What is it related to?
Sir, to products and all. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So you must have found it on the product packages and all that. Now, the company which makes that product is ISO certified. ISO is quality standards. Okay. Like our institute and most of the educational institute are now ISO certified. So we are certified to the latest ISO quality standards. That is 2000 ISO 2009 2015. So we have to maintain certain things which are for the quality standards. So if you see, we have a manual. In the manual, all the operations processes like purchase, like teaching is also a process. Okay, where first step is to identify the syllabus, then to make a lesson plan out of the syllabus, and then to deliver the lectures, then to take exams, then feedback on that, the results, everything right from starting to end is one process for one subject. So there are so many processes in subjects here. And then how do we, in that design and development comes design, how do we design the curriculum activities? Okay. And these are all as per the IMO, International Maritime Organization modules. These are the modules where they have given guidelines that what should be taught and what should not be taught. We cannot teach you anything as per our whims and fancies. We have to teach you what is there in the IMO guidelines. Because when you go for your competency exam, these are the things which will be included in the second mates exam, then chief mates exam, then master's exam. So we are preparing you. Basically, it is a pre-C course before you go out at sea, and then you will be doing the post-C courses to get your license. The first license is going to be your second officer's license. Okay, so as per that, some syllabus has been decided. This syllabus is universal throughout the world for the maritime institutes. Okay, I cannot teach you something different from what is being taught in UK or in Australia. So there are examination patterns, there are passing marks, percentage, and all that. Everything is there. You can have more than that, but not less than that. And all this is based on the STCW, Standard for Training and Certification of Seafarer. Standard for Training, Watchkeeping and Certification of Seafarers. So STCW gives all the competencies which are required, all the skills which are required for a person to become a mariner for a particular rank. For example, a able-bodied seaman, a boatswain. What is the competency required? What skills should they have? Which everything is given in STCW. The latest one is STCW 2010. And we have to chalk down the syllabus as per that, make our CHLP, give it to you, you know what is going to be taught to you, and then we have to deliver those lectures. So that is given there. Okay. Even this, you must have noticed when the power shut down, within 5 minutes, you will see that the generator kicks in and the power is restored. Have you noticed that?
Yes, sir.
Why is that? That is a requirement for a MTI to function. MTI means Maritime Training Institute. That is a requirement. If you don't have it, is a non-conformity. So a lot of institutes are working without that. They do not have gen sets and all, but still they are performing. Slowly but surely, these substandard institutes are getting eradicated from the market, and only the fittest will survive. So you will see when you type maritime institutes on Google search engine, the first name which comes is which one?
TMI.
Yes, because we have laid down our standards. We try to do everything as per the book, and that's the reason we are not starting the offline classes from Monday onwards, because we will wait for the final what you call order from the DG shipping. Last time we made a mistake of starting 2 days before, especially the modular courses, and we started from the next Monday, and the final order came, which the dates were given 2 days after we started. So we were in great trouble that they were asking us, how could you start 2 days before? So this time we have learned our lesson. We will not make the same mistake again. Okay, so let me share the documents, which is for the chapter 2 of environmental pollution, which is related to water pollution. Okay. It is. Okay. Short chapter, very interesting. We are aware we should be ashamed, not only be aware of it, that no water body in India is free of contamination. The reasons are many, excuses are many. We have a lot of population which is illiterate. That is the major reason. Secondly, we have population which is very high. So wherever there is water available, people settle down next to that. They do their cleaning, washing, bathing, everything in that water. They even wash their cattle, the bhais ko milate, uh, their animals. So finally, what happens? This water, and especially if it is a stagnant water, it becomes contaminated and sometimes even toxic to such a level that it is a source of poison. Okay. The few years back, I read an article that Godrej hair dye, hair dye, the color which people use for coloring their hair. The black Godrej hair dye was sold uh, like you know a lot in Haryana. Anybody from Haryana?
Yes, sir.
You, Bansal, you yourself from Haryana?
Yes, sir. I stay in Panchkula.
Okay. So I don't know whether you are aware. Can you tell me why?
So, what is the question? Like,
Godrej hair dye, black color, is selling like hotcakes in Haryana.
sir, don't know about that.
This being sold everywhere in all over India, but the business is booming in Haryana, and this is few years back.
No, sir. No idea.
Okay. So let me tell you, you will be surprised. This is used to color the buffaloes. The buffaloes there, they are sold in the mandi market.
Yes, sir.
So the blacker the buffalo, the better the health of the buffalo is the norms. So people dye them and sell it in the market for a good price. Okay, nothing very surprising in our country that can happen. We sell humans by coloring their hair. Sell means market them. So why can't we market and sell the buffaloes? So then this was the search done by Godrej themselves, that what is the reason for hair dyes being sold in Haryana more than any other place, and they found this was the reason, major reason. Apart from people using it, which the consumption is not high, but for buffaloes. And if you want to paint one buffalo, you will require not one box, you will require many boxes. So obviously, consumption is high. Okay. Now, we are diverting from our topic. Our topic is water pollution. But since we started talking about washing of cattle in the river and water and all that.
Sir,
Yes.
so you are teaching this from which book? Like, is this available on LMS?
The whole book is there in electronic format. I am teaching you from extracts from the book. The
Yes,
whole
sir.
book,
There are 3 books available.
yeah. The first one.
Okay, sir.
Okay. The one with Captain Subramaniam is the book which is more related to the last few topics, which is actually meteorology. Not it is meteorology is also environmental science, but that meteorology is going to be a subject for you next semester. Okay, so I'll be just doing some few topics of that as per your syllabus, uh, which is at the end. the atmosphere. कल जो video दिखाया था, that was from that topic. Then there is precipitation, visibility, all these are all meteorology. And you have a proper subject called meteorology, which you will have till for your second mates also. So Captain H. Subramaniam book is Nutshell series ka part of it. That is also electronic copies available on the Moodle. Okay. So the Reed Todd's observation about how water makes Earth exclusive in the entire visible universe. Okay, that is there in that book. Without water, there would be no life. We know that our body is constituted of 70% of water. So we need to replenish this water in our body from time to time. But yesterday we saw that water, when we are thirsty, we feel as if we are going to die. But just imagine 12 kgs of air we use per human being for oxygen is much more in quantity than the water. We usually take water for granted and air definitely for granted. Water, at least we are aware now that we need to preserve water. We need to keep the water clean. We use water purifiers. We are not yet using air purifiers, but soon that will also happen. 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water. We know that oceans, okay, they're covering the major part of the Earth's surface. Only 29% is land mass, rest all is water. Out of this 71% of the water, 97%, I mean 97% of all the water body is found in oceans. तो कितना बच गया हमारे यूज के लिए 3%. Out of that 3%, 2.997% is locked in the ice caps or glaciers. Can we use that? No. In fact, they had talked about bringing the glaciers, towing them on the surface of the water from the Greenland and bringing it to Europe. But then they realized that by the time they bring it, it will melt to such an extent that a small ice cube will be available. So that project is not a very good project to bring ice cube. So how much water is available for us to drink?
0.003.
Such little quantity. And can we afford to contaminate it? No, but we are doing it. Only 0.003% of Earth's total volume of water is available as soil moisture, groundwater, water vapor, and water in lakes, streams, rivers, and wetlands. Better perspective would be if the world's water supply were only 100 liters. Okay, our usable supply of fresh water would then be only 0.0003 liter. That is 1/2 teaspoon. So before this becomes, we need to wake up from our deep slumber and do something about it. So what can you do? Any leakages at your home, please repair them immediately. We are wasting a lot of water with that one drop falling at a time for 24 hours, 365 days. We often tell our maids who comes for washing the utensil that do not open the tap to the full, conserve water, but they don't understand. So we have to shout at them. Why should we shout? Because they are illiterate. If they were literate, they would have understood themselves. So awareness, education is very important. Now, making of artificial reservoirs. You know, India as a country is blessed with so much of rainfall that only on rainfall, rainwater, the whole population, which is not a very small population, we all are aware of that, can survive only on rainwater. And places where it doesn't rain or there is scanty rainfall, even if we send water from places where there is heavy rainfall and lot of waterfalls there, we will be self-sufficient only with rainwater. और कोई source ही नहीं. We don't have to generate from the salt water. You know, countries in Middle East, they generate water from oceans. Anybody has any idea about that? जहाँ बारिश नहीं होती,
Yes, sir, I have heard about it.
they have to generate from seawater. They have no other
Yes.
option. And that's why the water becomes very costly. You go to Japan and all that, you will find water cost you like any other dish in the restaurant. Japan is one of the most expensive countries in the world. Okay. So when me and my wife were traveling, we did not buy a single thing, but just for the sake of kuch to lena chahiye, she bought one lipstick from there in Japan, which is costing some, at that time, talking about 15 years back, one lipstick was costing some 2,000 rupees. So that expensive it is, and you will find people working there until the age of 80 because they have to fend for themselves. The children cannot afford to take care of their parents. Okay. Now, this makes water a very precious commodity. We should treat it more precious than the gold. But coming back to the second point, we usually take water for granted. I went to Sudan, thanks to shipping. We had gone there to discharge cargo. I saw one fellow taking bath with a water in that can of Coke. A can of Coke is 300 ml, sometimes even less, depending on the size. So say it was 300 ml. He was trying to take bath with that water, that much water. This water is found in streams, rivers, lakes, wetlands, artificial reservoirs. We need to increase artificial reservoirs where there is heavy rainfall so that we can supply to places where there is very little rainfall. This was done a few years back. A train load of tankers was sent from here to Vidarbha. Vidarbha is Maharashtra itself, which is generally dry most of the monsoon season. And there a drought-like situation was developing. So water was sent from here. Now, what are we doing? We are making concrete roads, tars in our backyards. We are putting tiles for making a sit out. We are not allowing this rainwater to percolate in the soil. When we do that, it drains in the drainage system. And it goes, where does the drainage system go? It goes to the sea. If it goes to the sea, then again the seawater, it mixes with salt water and is of not much use to us. So more number of artificial reservoirs. Government has been encouraging rural areas to have this because in urban areas the land is expensive. They would not like to invest there for the artificial reservoirs. Rural area, it is compulsory to have this now, and they have even funded for doing this, but then corruption comes in way. Water percolating into the ground and filling pores in soil and rock is called groundwater. Now, this groundwater is not stationary. It moves from higher level to lower level and so on in the form of aquifers. They are called aquifers, those small streams which are flowing under the surface of the earth, which we can't see with our naked eyes. Those are called aquifers. That's why the boring water, when you bore a well, the bore well, requires some skills and some experience to know where we will find water. Okay, sometimes it is a flop experiment where you bore and you find nothing. Now, people say, कि मुझे 100 feet पे ही पानी मिल गया. Okay, very good. You didn't have to dig much. You spent less money. The extraction pipeline which is going to be put there is going to be smaller. So overall cost reduction ho gaya. But then what are the drawbacks of that? We'll see that when we come to it. Some people say 200 feet dig करने के बाद भी पानी नहीं लगा. And generally this is done in summer when the water table is very low, so that after the monsoon, the water table rises and we will have water throughout till the summer. Summer, the concentration, this water cannot directly be used in most of the places for drinking purposes because it contains a lot of mineral salts, calcium, manganese, and all that. It can be used for washing and bathing purposes, for toilet purposes. So at my place where I'm staying now, we have 24 hours municipal water in the kitchen, but the bathrooms are supplied with boring water, bore water. Okay. And in summer, this bore water becomes very concentrated because the water table is down, so calcium content is very high, the minerals are very high, and they are not very good because the pH level goes up. They're not good for bathing also because you may have hair fall problems and all that. Rough hair and hair fall problems, skin problems, some people. Now, porous water saturated layers of sand, gravels, or bedrock through which groundwater flows are called aquifers. Any pollutant on land is pulled into the aquifers and pollute the groundwater and wells. This is what I'm saying. If you find water at a less depth, then pollution can take place faster. If you found water at great depth, then summers may be dry. So it should be somewhere between 150 feet or so, depending on the area and the type of material in the ground. Point source of pollution has a definite identity and address like municipal and industrial discharge pipes. So we should never dig a borewell near these areas where you know that nearby resources are polluted. In fact, closer to the river or closer to the lake, it would be a better idea because that water will percolate and supply water throughout the year, even if the water table goes down. Agricultural runoff, that means the water which is wasting out from the agricultural acid rain are the non-point sources. You should not have these borewells there. What are the types of water pollutants? E. coli, you must have heard about this bacteria, often causes gastric problem and indigestion and vomiting and diarrhea. When in our large intestine, when this E. coli bacteria is in our large intestine, it helps in digestion of the food and producing vitamin K. But if it goes in our stomach, it causes gastric problems. That is why Shauchale Ek Prem Katha, or rather I think the name was Toilet Ek Prem Katha, later on it was changed to Shauchale, is a relevant movie to understand this concept. Some organic pollutants get decomposed by aerobic, that means oxygen requiring bacteria, which in turn deplete the oxygen from the water. So organic pollutants have to be decomposed. There are bacteria for doing that job, but bacteria require oxygen. And when they consume the oxygen, the water becomes depleted of the oxygen. Then the fish in the water or the planktons in the water do not get enough oxygen. They die in turn. If fish is not there, then the end users, the consumers are the humans, which are going to suffer. The amount of oxygen required to break down a certain amount of organic matter is called the biological oxygen demand, BOD. The amount of biological oxygen demand in the water is an indicator of the level of pollution. If the demand is more, then the pollution is more because there is organic compound which is to be decomposed by the bacteria. Bacteria is consuming more oxygen from the water, so the pollution is more. Lack of oxygen causes fish and other forms of oxygen dependent aquatic life to die. The whole ecosystem is going to get affected. Non-aerobic also breaks down. So non-aerobic are good, which are not going to consume oxygen for decomposing the organic compound. So non-aerobic also, they have their own drawbacks. Like they break down organic waste, creating chemicals with foul smell, cause of slums stinking. Inorganic plant nutrient like nitrates and phosphate from the fertilizer is also pollutant. It is absorbed by the soil, it goes percolates down with the water to the what we call it as क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Aquifers. Once it reaches the aquifers, it will travel all over the places. They cause excessive growth of algae and other aquatic plants, which is known as eutrophication. The clogging of pipes change the taste of the odor of water. So these algae and aquatic plants, when they grow in excess, they clog the pipelines. When they clog the pipelines, they also change the taste of the water. They also consume oxygen, affecting fish and other aquatic species. Now, the chemicals which are used in pesticides also pollute the soil and water. They are absorbed by planktons and the fish eat them. The fish are eaten by birds. We eat the birds and fish both. So finally, all this is going to come to us, whether we like it or not. At a level of DDT, DDT is again a pesticide used for in the farms to kill the insects. These are made birds lay eggs with thinner shells. So bird eggs were not having enough of material because of the DDT effect, side effect, and the shell was weak, thin, and it used to break prematurely, and the chicks were never hatched. So reproduction problems. Next type of pollutant in the groundwater, then you are definitely looking for cancer in humans at least. Mercury and lead, if they are mixed with water, then diseases like cancer are on the cards. Arsenic also, radioactive materials, radio Renault standing Make me the host, please. Paying attention. Whose partner is Reno? Obviously, the partner must be also sleeping. Reno Stanley 071. उठ गया नींद से उठ गया. I was calling the IT department. Why are you sleeping? Zero 071. Can you read me?
Yes, sir.
You are sleeping, no?
No, sir.
Then I am asking you to make me host since last 10 minutes. What were you doing?
Sir, I had gone to the toilet, so I didn't notice.
Bullshit. Don't give me bullshit. Grow up in your age. Don't behave like school kids. I had gone to toilet. Even school kids don't behave that way.
Sorry,
Tell
sir.
me, you are sleeping or not?
No, sir, I was not sleeping.
Then why you are not paying attention? I'll mark you absent for both the classes.
Sorry, sir, it will not happen again.
You better make sure it doesn't happen again, because I will make sure you don't attend any of the class after that.
Sorry, sir.
Okay. So, what we were talking about, the detergent which you will be using on the ship. Maybe the product has been again made by the same companies which you should make here, but the product is going to be different, because this water, the gray water from the washing of your clothes, also goes to the holding tank, and from there it goes to the sea after treatment. So we are even so strict about using a particular type of detergent which is less harmful to the aquatic life. Insoluble particles of soil and other solids that become suspended in the water are mixed polluted. So these are the particles which do not dissolve in the water and they remain suspended in the soil. They make the water mucky, hazy. They also, don't obstruct the sunlight from reaching the seabed or the waterbed where the planktons grow. So they do not get sunlight, they can't do photosynthesis, and their flora is affected. Flora is food for fauna, so that is also affected. Finally, we do not get fish to eat. Sediments that settle down on the bed destroy feeding and spawning ground of fish. Many a times, debris and rubbles are thrown in the water body. They go and settle down and they destroy the fishing breeding ground of the fish. Water soluble radioactive isotopes cause birth defects, cancer, and genetic damage up the food chain. So if these radioactive isotopes are consumed by the planktons and then by the fish and then by the humans, indirectly you will get affected by the radioactive radiations of the isotopes. Hot water, which is used as for the cooling of the machinery in the plants, power plants. Cold water is pumped in. It is circulated around the machinery to regulate the temperature and cooling the machinery. And this water, which is now at a higher temperature, is again let out. So this is the hot water which is let out by the power plant and industries. It is about 15 degrees higher than the normal normal water temperature, and this decreases that high temperature of the water decreases the solubility of the oxygen in the water and changes the breeding cycle of various aquatic organisms. Oil spills from tankers, ships which carry oil. Oil spills from these ships can cause runoff from the roads and garages of the oil. The oil does not mix with water, it floats on the surface. So that's one thing. Uh, Oil can create a layer which will not allow sunlight to go in. It will create a layer which will contaminate the growth and kill most of the aquatic animals. And oil being a byproduct, there is a toxicity level of it which can cause the whole ecosystem to finish within days. Sewage treatment. Primary treatment of the sewage, okay, consists of temporarily holding it in the sewage treatment tank or in the quiescent basin where the heavy solids can settle to the bottom and the oil, grease, lighter solids float to the surface. The settled and floating material are removed and remaining liquid may be discharged or subjected to secondary treatment. Now, the settling material is removed as sludged. The floating material is also removed easily, but the material which is mixed or soluble along with the water has to go for a secondary treatment. Primary treatment normally removes the 35% of the biological oxygen demand and 60% of the suspended solids. We will see in a video where what type of treatment is effective for how much percentage of removing of the biological oxygen demanding material. Main objectives of secondary treatment is to remove most of the biological oxygen Okay, welcome back. So, the last part of this module of the sub-module of pollution, that is water pollution, is the state of Indian rivers. We know that we have not left any water body uncontaminated, so this should not be a surprise or shock for us. Most of the rivers in India are named after gods, goddesses, or saints. Urbanization, industrialization, excess withdrawal, that is overexploitation of water, agricultural runoff, and various religious and social practices are the reasons to pollute them. Sewage and municipal effluents account for about 75% of the contamination, and remaining 25% is from industries and agriculture. So 100% contamination is in effect. In 1985, India launched the Ganga Action Plan, which was not succeeded, and it is still going on with many governments changing, a lot of money being put into it, a lot of money being used for the cause, but no success. That is because we are trying to control the pollution, not the prevention of pollution. It is very difficult to prevent this pollution of the water because of the religious beliefs which we have, where the ashes are put in the rivers of the uh, dead dead bodies are put into the rivers, and so much of contamination for immersing of idol, and which slowly but surely is being taken care of. We have started doing preventive measures also, and hopefully in another 40 years we will have clean water, if not before. Biggest drawback of these cleaning program is failure to pin responsibility of polluters to decide who pays. There is a company called Thermax which manufactures a lot of things, and they have come up with a new technology of root zone process for filtering of water. Uh, we do have Thermax boilers installed in our workshop. Thermax has a plant in Pune also, Pune area. A lot of people work for this company. The root zone process is the one which has been installed in our water treatment plant. What it is, we'll see in a short video, and then we'll see the other types of filtrations.
Greetings students, my name is Mayur Vale. I am assistant professor in civil department WIT Solapur. Today we are going to discuss the topic that is root zone technology. So what are the learning outcomes? At the end of this session, students will be able to understand the concept of root zone technology. So approximately 70% of the domestic water is released as a wastewater, most of which can be recovered if we are going to treat it very properly. Okay, so what we have to do is to change our mentality and to think that domestic water as a resource but not as a waste. Okay, so domestic wastewater is mainly classified into two categories. One is grey water, the water which is generated from kitchens, laundry, bathrooms, etc. And another one is black water, the wastewater which is coming out from toilets, which is containing a large amount of fecal matter and urine, which is also called as sewage. So now to treat this kind of a domestic wastewater, the new technology have come up, that is the root zone technology. First of all, we will understand what is meant by root zone. Root zone is a scientific term used to cover all the biological activity among different types of microbes, the root of plants, water, soil and the sun. It consists of planted filtered beds containing gravel, sand and soil. The root zone wastewater treatment, in short RZWT system, utilizes nature's way of biologically processing domestic and industrial effluents. The root zone wastewater treatment, the system makes use of biological and physical treatment processes to remove pollutants from wastewater. Now, in the picture, you can see the wastewater which is being collected in the settling chamber is now preferred as an inlet into the root zone technology system, in which the red part, that is having a lot of gravel on which the reed bed plants have been implanted. They have been grown on this gravel. So their roots will automatically going to be percolated inside the gravel, and they will be providing a lot of rhizosphere area, so that whatever the microorganisms which are near the roots and which are adhered to the gravels will automatically going to take out whatever the organic matter which is flowing through this water. So automatically the organic matter which has been captured by microorganisms will going to be treated aerobically. Why? Because whatever the carbon dioxide which is present in the atmosphere will easily taken up by the plants, and they will convert it and they will throw out lot of oxygen through the roots. And in the roots that is nearby the rhizosphere, automatically oxygen will be allowed to be taken to the microorganisms. So microorganisms will get lot of sufficient of oxygen, and also they will be getting lot of organic matter from the wastewater. So automatically they will be treated, and with the help of gravity, the treated water or the effluent will be collected from the next chamber. So in this fashion, the root zone technology works. Now in the more complicated way, you can see the diagram where the inlet has been shown on the left part, and through the gravels the wastewater is coming inside the root zone.
So when you go to have a look at this root zone technology, you will see in our setup, it is the inlet is from the right side and it flows to the left side with a slope, gradual slope of 1% in the bottom. And the gravel you will not be able to see because they are under the reeds. You may be able to see only the reeds on the top.
Where the roots is giving out lot of oxygen from the atmosphere, and the nearby the root lot of rhizosphere is being created, where the microorganisms which are residing on the gravel is taking lot of oxygen and taking lot of organic matter through the flow of wastewater. The gravel should be in between 8 to 16 mm, and the slope for which the wastewater should flow is given around 1%. As the wastewater flows, slowly it is being treated by the microorganisms. They will be taken out from the outlet. These reed plants, or we can use different plants which should be capable to grow themselves on the gravel. We have to use that plants, and we have to ensure that large amount of oxygen should be taken from the atmosphere, and they should be given out in the gravel area. New technologies have come up and they have been commercialized. So let us see what is the new technology which has been enveloped and which is being used very much at a higher rate. So if you see, there are 4 compartment methods which have been used. First one is settler, in which the influent is coming inside the biodigester, where the no oxygen is present inside that biodigester. So automatically it is using the anaerobic method for the treatment, in which you can see whatever the scum which is present above is being taken out, and the wastewater which is having large amount of organic matter is being treated anaerobically, and the sludge is being produced in that tank. It is acting as a septic tank. The effluent is taken out, and whatever the supernatant which is present is again taken out, and it is shifted to the second chamber or the second compartment, and whatever the sludge which is being resided at the bottom is taken out and is being disposed of. In the second compartment, that is anaerobic baffled reactor, the same process is going on. That is anaerobic digestion process is going on. So in one compartment, various digesters are being put up. Now at the last digester, the outflow, that is the supernatant, is taken out. Again it is given to the anaerobic filter. Here also the same thing is happening, but there is one change. If suppose in that supernatant some suspended particles are still there, that is taken out by filtration system. So at the first part we are providing the anaerobic digester which have been provided in the settler also and in the anaerobic baffled reactor also. So in the anaerobic filter, first we are providing the anaerobic digester and the effluent is taken, and again we are providing a large amount of filter media, and water is made to push from the bottom to upper part, where the whatever the suspended particles which are still present in the water is being here choked up, and automatically they have been removed off, and the clearer water is again made to pass through the next filter media and similarly to the next filter media. So here serially 3 filter media is being provided. Now the effluent from the anaerobic filter, that is our here outflow, is taken to the planted gravel filter, that is our root zone technology, main technology, where the inlet is been made to pass through the gravel where the reed plants have been implanted, and automatically the clearer water will be taken out as a cleaner water, and it is being reused for the gardening or for the bathrooms or for the toilets. So reuse of wastewater can be easily happen. Now talking about the efficiency of root zone technology, you can get to know the effluent water is having the turbidity removal efficiency around 75%. The TSS removal is around 70 to 80%. The coliform bacteria removal efficiency is around 85 to 90%. BOD removal efficiency is relatively lower, but if we are going for multi-digester systems, it can increase. But for pure root zone technology, it is around 60 to 70%. Talking about COD, it is having 75 to 85%. Ammonium nitrogen is having the removal efficiency of 50 to 58%, and organic nitrogen is having the highest removal efficiency, that is 95 to 99%. Talking about its advantages, it is the most innovative and eco-friendly system. Both grey water and black water can be suitably treated and again reused. It is having a low cost, it is virtually zero energy and maintenance free system. No need to add any input such as chemical or mechanical pumps or external energy. It reduces the maintenance and green energy cost. The water flow from one device to another using natural slope, that is 1% bottom slope, and without any external energy input such as motor pump. Once the reed plants create an established stand, the reed bed requires very little or no maintenance. So let us have few review questions. Root zone is specific term used to cover all the biological activity among different types of microbes, roots of plants, water, soil and sun, or all of the above. The wastewater flow through the root zone in horizontal or vertical way where organic pollutants are decomposed biomechanically by the bacteria. It is due to the presence of rhizosphere in the plant roots. Whether this statement is true or false. The filter media in RZWT is selected carefully to provide favorable conditions to reed plants, bacteria, avoid clogging, or all of the above.
Okay, can you try and give the answers for these 3 questions? Reno Stanley.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now you are awake. So can you give me the answers for these three questions?
Yes, sir. I will try it.
Okay, fine. Did you go back to sleep again?
No, sir. I am trying it.
So I'm waiting for you.
Yes, sir.
So first is all of the above.
Second
Okay.
one is true. The
Okay.
true, and the third one is again all of the above.
Yes, sir.
Where?
Yes, sir.
Where? All of you agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Bacteria avoid clogging or all of the above. So let us see their answers. Root zone is specific term used to cover all the biological activity among the different types of microbes also, roots of plants, water, soil and sun also. The statement that is the wastewater flow through the root zone in horizontal or vertical way where organic pollutants are decomposed biomechanically, that is using microorganisms due to the presence of rhizosphere, the sphere which is nearly the roots of plant where the oxygen provision is being given to microorganisms. So this statement is very much right. The filter media in RZWT is selected carefully to provide favorable conditions to whom? To reed plants also, bacteria also, and also to avoid clogging. So all of the above is the right answer. These are the references I have used to make this video. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing this.
Kerala has been making rapid strides in urbanization. Villages are becoming small towns and towns are turning into cities. Population in the cities is increasing day by day. While Kerala has recorded impressive progress in the development of basic amenities, the same is not the case with treatment of wastewater. It is for remedying this that the Kerala government has taken up a series of measures with emphasis on wastewater treatment. These measures are under the aegis of Kerala's Sustainable Urban Development Project, implemented with assistance from the Asian Development Bank. A sewage treatment plan set up at Muttattura in the capital city promises to propel Kerala to great heights in the area of wastewater treatment. The plant follows a process of collecting sewage generated from kitchens, bathrooms and toilets of city homes and hotels through a massive network of pipes and scientifically treats and cleans them. All the wastewater collected through the sewage network set up in Trivandrum decades ago was used for fodder cultivation in the 100-acre barren land at Muttattura. This is known as sewage farming. However, with the expansion of city and growth in population, this method has become unfeasible and impracticable. Septic tanks are also not a permanent solution for sewage treatment. Septic tanks set up in plots of 4 or 5 cents pose the threat of contaminating the water in the well, not just in the plot, but also wells in the neighboring ones. This is because of 2 reasons. The required measures for safely setting up a septic tank are not often adhered to, and the accumulated waste is not removed periodically. As such, the wastewater that emanates from sewage quickly mixes with groundwater. This is where
We saw one of the reasons of the groundwater being polluted is the leakages from the septic tank. So those who have septic tanks at home, please make sure that they are clean from time to time and are not leaking in the groundwater level, so that otherwise the bore well which is next to it, you are drinking the same water.
the need and relevance of a scientific and large-scale sewage treatment sets in. The plant uses an advanced technology called activated sludge process with extended aeration that cleans and processes wastewater with zero negative impact on the environment. The wastewater generated from every house in the city is collected and brought to the sewage treatment plant through a network of sewerage pipes. The sewerage pipes are laid at depth of 1 to 7 meters below the surface of the road in a tilted manner. The flow of water in the pipes is enabled by the force of gravitation. A pumping station has been set up after every 6 or 7 meters from where the water is pumped to the next meter point. This process is repeated until the wastewater reaches the sewerage treatment plant through the network of pipes. This is the final lifting station of the plant. There are 2 such tanks in the plant, and each is equipped with 3 pumps. Depending on the amount of water that reaches the plant, 1 or more pumps function. Through these pumps, wastewater reaches the inlet chambers. From the inlet chamber, the wastewater is directed to the screen chamber. In this screen, materials such as plastic, cloth, etc. are blocked. When the amount of such solid materials exceeds the prescribed limits, an automated rack enters the water, lifts these substances and deposits them outside through a conveyor. The wastewater then flows to the grid chamber. Here, the sewage is allowed to stand for a specified time, during which sand and other substances with high density get settled at the bottom of the grid chamber. A slowly operating scrapper deposits the substances at the bottom to one side of the grid chamber, from where they are taken outside through a conveyor. An agitator is used to prevent the outflow of organic waste in the water along with the grid. The water from the grid chamber is then routed to the aerator tank. An instrument called partial flume records the quantity of wastewater as it flows through this channel after desalting the grid. The wastewater then flows into the aerator tank through the numerous pores in the other channel. It is in the aerator tank that the major process of cleaning and processing wastewater takes place. The water is cleaned with the help of bacteria that eats away the organic waste in the water. The functioning of the aerator in the tank increases the level of oxygen in the water. The availability of oxygen and food causes the bacteria to multiply rapidly, and they eat away all the organic waste in the water. The aerator in the tank is allowed to operate depending on the water's oxygen level. After the treatment in the aerator, the water is then channelized to the clarifier. As it reaches the clarifier, the bacteria in the water and other heavy substances get settled at its bottom. This is called sludge. The deposited sludge is brought to the center of the clarifier through scrapper mechanism. A dedicated pipe carries the sludge to the sludge tank. A portion of the sludge in the sludge tank is again routed to the aeration tank. This is done to ensure presence of sufficient levels of bacteria in the aeration tank. Once sufficient level of bacteria is ensured in the aeration tank, the remaining sludge is thickened using sludge thickener. Sludge settles at the bottom of the sludge thickener, and the water at the top is pumped to the aeration tank via a dedicated pipe. The thickened sludge is brought to the center of the thickener using scrapper mechanism and is sent from there to the centrifuge through pipes. The functioning of the centrifuge brings down the volume of water substantially. The water that flows out from the centrifuge is sent again to the aerator tank for cleansing. During summer, the sludge from the sludge thickener is directly sent to the drying bed. Sludge may also be formed in this manner. The water from the drying bed is routed to the aerator tank. The treated water from the clarifier reaches the outlet chamber through the clarifier launder. Here, the water is rid of microorganisms using chlorine. To clear off all and any microorganisms, the water is allowed to stand in the chlorine contact tank for 30 minutes and then let out. The treated water is drained into the neighboring Parvati Putanar Canal. This water can be used for gardening, industrial and construction activities. To ensure that all the processes from start to finish are correctly followed and have produced the desired results, the water is tested in labs during the various phases of the process. This modern sewage treatment plant has the capacity to treat 107 million liters of wastewater every day. However, only 30 to 40 million liters reaches the plant daily. The maximum capacity of 107 million liters has been arrived at after considering the generation of wastewater if all wards in Trivandrum city are connected to the sewerage network and the expected population for 2030. Such scientifically enabled sewage treatments are imperative in all urban centers of Kerala as we work to build a healthy state free of communicable diseases.
So what you could see was a modern treatment plant where this you will find in urban area is very common. The problem which he emphasized on in the last part is that not enough capacity is being treated because not enough capacity of water is being poured into the inlet. That is because the pipelines, which is the major project, which leads to the sewer, should reach every household and every building, every society, and then only it can come to the treatment plant. Now, that project requires a lot of digging, pipelining, and covering it, and on top of that, the tar layers and cement layers and all that. That is the time-consuming project. If you see, if the urban planning does not allow any cities to develop unless a sewer system is there, then only this will be a successful attempt. But in our country, what happens first, the cities are being made and then the sewer system is made, which is entirely ulta process. I have seen that now the rules have changed. We need to have roads. Before that, you need to have a sewer system. The first thing you will see developing in any place is the sewer system in urban areas. And then the roads come and then the infrastructure comes. So we are now working in the right direction and we will be able to achieve the water treatment very effectively, efficiently in another 10 years time, 20 years time, whatever it is, depending on where, how much people are serious about it. Okay, any questions with respect to this?
No, sir.
Okay. So what we can do now is attendance.